So, I have a story for the children. And the children, are you all ready? Yes. And I know some of you have heard this story before, sometimes here, sometimes on a street retreat. And so if you know this story, you know the opening line with me. Are we ready? Yes. First, I have to say, this story belonged and is a story of Kay Jorgensen's. Now, Kay helped begin the Faithful Fools down in the Tenderloin. So this is actually a real story. So, ready? It was a sunny day in Berkeley. And Kay was needing some lunch. She was studying at school, and it was lunchtime. And so she decided to go out and look for some lunch in a grocery store. And she was walking down the street in Berkeley. And when she was walking down the street, all of a sudden something went and hit her in her arm. And she was like, and all of a sudden somebody at the bottom of the BART steps, the train, looked down and they said, "They're down there, they're down there." And Kay looked down, and there at her feet were 2 pennies. So she took the 2 pennies, she put them in her pocket, and she went on walking, and she got to the grocery store, and she got herself a sandwich, and then she went to get herself something that she could drink. And as she was standing there trying to decide what she wanted to drink, somebody walked up with a can of pop in their hand, of soda, and said, "You wouldn't happen to have 2 pennies, would you? If I had 2 more pennies, I could get myself this drink." Did she? So she reached in her pocket, she pulled out the 2 pennies, and she put them in the fellow's hand, and he went on. And Kay went up to the cash register to pay for her sandwich, and as she was paying for her sandwich, she noticed that one of the favorite songs that she loves to sing in church was playing. And you know what the song was? Who knows what the song was? Go for it. Morning has broken like the first morning. She was like, "What's going on?" So she went on, she ate her sandwich, went back to school, kept on studying, graduated, went to Minnesota, was a minister in a parish in Minnesota for, I think, about 7 years. And then when she finished that work, she came back here to San Francisco, and she thought she was going to look for another parish to work in. But then she started walking out in the streets, and she walked down the hill, and she was noticing that people were having to live on the sidewalk, and people who didn't have enough to eat, and there were kids who needed some place to be after school. And she said to herself, "I don't think I'm going to look for a parish. I think I'm going to stay here and work." And so it was about that time that I came to San Francisco myself. I was living in Nicaragua, and I was working with somebody who happened to be a friend of Kay's, and she said, "You have to meet this Kay Jorgensen." So I met Kay. We decided that we were going to work together because I too was not very happy and knew that we had to work to get people into houses and get people enough to eat and get a place for kids to be after school if their moms and dads had to work. So we started walking the streets together. And then when we started walking the streets, all of a sudden these pennies were appearing. And it'd be like, "And you know what? I found 2 pennies on the way here today." And we'd walking and we'd get these pennies. And so we'd pick them up, and then all of a sudden Kay remembered that day that she had the pennies way like 10 years ago. And so she sat down and she decided to write it out as a story. And when she wrote it out as a story, you know what she learned? She learned that she would have, and all of us have, what we need before it's asked of us. So, you know what? I think what I'd like to do is give each one of you 2 pennies. So if you find somebody who might need something, and they say, "Can you help us out?" You can say, here's 2 pennies, and may more come to you, so that we can all work, that everybody's got a house, everybody's got food, everybody's safe after school. So I think Kirsten and Sam have 2 pennies for sure for the kids, and if any of you are sitting here and kind of doubt sometimes whether you really have what you need, you can take 2 pennies too. Here, Kirsten.
Who needs 2 pennies in case somebody needs them?
So, we're going to have a lot of trust in this room after this is over.
A lot of pennies in the collection basket.